Prize Institute scholar and Fox News contributor, and Austin Goolsbee, economics professor at the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business and former chief economist under President Obama. Great to see both of you, gentlemen. Thanks for being here. Austin, let me start with you on that. Is this a good idea? Is it, economically, is it a good idea? And Joe Biden has also suggested that we should cover illegal immigrants with health care.
I think that's inaccurate as to describe what the former vice president's position is.
I don't believe so.
In this case in California, Gavin Newsom, I was a little surprised by how you portrayed the program. There are people in the California legislature that are proposing using California's money to cover poor immigrants here illegally. And Gavin Newsom opposed that. This is only a very small program that applies to college age and student age.
Yeah, we said adults 19 to 25. Yeah. We also pointed out that the legislature wanted a much larger program, which was in the billions, and that this is the program that
Gavin Newsom
we pointed that out.
But
yes, which he was against.
Gavin Newsom opposed it.
Correct.
And so Gavin Newsom's got 5 different things where he's opposing the Trump administration in far more glaring ways than this.
But the suggestion, I guess, on the basic question, the suggestion that illegal immigrants should have, either state paid for or federally funded health care. Do you agree with that or not?
It's not federally funded. No, I did not
support that. In this case, it's state funded, as I just said.
And that's not in Obamacare. It isn't in there at the federal level.
Okay.
At the state level, making sure that people who are going to college can have coverage so that they can get their vaccines, and
even if they're illegal. That's the question. If they're illegal, that you would agree.
It's paid by the states. This is not a federal government.
I said the federal government or the state government. I quite clearly said either entity, the federal or the state. In this case, it would be the state.
If the state wants to use their money for that,
they can do what they want. I got it. Okay.
Well, it's actually
Marc.
It's actually not the state's money; it's the taxpayers of California's money.
Well,
and if they elected Gavin Newsom, who campaigned on making California a sanctuary state, then they're getting what they paid for, what they voted for. I mean, look, the fact is that if you make free health care available to illegal immigrants, then by definition, illegal immigrants from all over the country are going to come to California to get their free health care, and probably some people who are not even illegal immigrants because they're by definition undocumented. And so if you're undocumented, it's hard to tell who's an illegal immigrant and who isn't. And he's not alone in this. You've got New York Mayor Bill de Blasio has made much the same pledge in New York City. He's going to turn New York into a magnet for illegal immigrants who are coming to get their free health care. And so I'm a little bit perplexed by some of these Democrats who are so up in arms about the idea of President Trump's suggestion that he's going to release illegal immigrants to sanctuary cities. Well, if you're against that, why are you creating these sanctuaries? Why are you offering free health care to illegal immigrants?
Well, speaking of that, Marc, let me just play this, because what I want to point out is that the language has changed so dramatically in such a short period of time, just over like the last decade. And here's Joe Biden back in 2007 talking about sanctuary cities. Watch this.
Would you allow these cities to ignore the federal law?
The reason the cities ignore the federal law is the fact that there is no funding at the federal level to provide for the kind of enforcement at the federal level you need. Part of the problem is you have to have a federal government that can enforce laws.
So, Senator Biden, yes or no, would you allow the cities to ignore the federal law?
No.
What do you think about that, Austin?
Well, that's a completely different thing. This discussion about health care, that's not what a sanctuary city is.
We're talking about
the question about sanctuary cities.
Taking care of illegal immigrants and not treating it as if it's a crime, but treating it as if it's someone who also needs to be taken care of and given benefits to in the larger context.
Okay, that's a totally different question. The issue of sanctuary cities that Vice President Biden was talking about is that there are about 400 cities and counties that do not want to share their information and be required by the federal government to do the enforcement of immigration laws.
Okay.
And they say, if you want us to do that, you got to give us the money to do it.
Look, the fact is, Martha, that until recently, everyone in this country, almost everyone in this country, Democrats and Republicans, agreed that illegal immigration was a problem and that we needed to, and that we should not be encouraging illegal immigrants to come to this country. In 2009, Chuck Schumer gave a speech at Georgetown, and he said, illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. People who enter the United States without permission are illegal aliens and should not be treated the same as people who enter here legally. That was a common position. If Chuck Schumer said that today, he'd be strung up by the Democratic Party.
I got to go, but I just want to point. I'm just doing some fact checking here because this is Joe Biden on the issue of health care for documented. He said, look, I think that anyone who is in a situation where they are in need of health care, regardless if you're documented or undocumented, we have an obligation to see through that they are cared for, and that's why we need more clinics across the country. Just to be on the record
That's the
with
emergency room rule. That's the law now. If you go into an emergency room, they have to treat
you.
you.
We're squared away.
He should hire you,
That is
Austin.
true.
You can explain it better than he can.
That is true. Austin, thank you very much. Marc, Thiessen, thank you very much. Thanks, gentlemen. Coming up next, the man